Good afternoon, everyone. Hi, my name is Ana Pereira. I am here today to moderate this session, this workshop regarding autonomous and connected mobility. So we will start this event at the moment with the intervention from the municipality, Vereador João Machado. Please welcome him.
Ora, muito boa tarde a todos. Eu só queria deixar uma mensagem muito rápida e breve, desejar uma boa sessão a todos e dizer que para Aveiro, o município de Aveiro, vocês têm visto ao longo destes últimos anos o investimento que temos feito em conjunto com grandes parceiros esses que estão aqui presentes hoje, Instituto, Telecomunicações, Ubiwhere, Altice Labs, dizer que para nós os veículos autónomos estamos a trabalhar para que seja uma realidade próxima e breve no nosso território. Com estes dois financiamentos que temos, tanto do Right to Autonomy como do Route 25, acreditamos que vai ser uma realidade breve. Cruzarmos mais vezes com veículos autónomos no nosso território. Há uma disposição grande deste Executivo e dizer que queremos e já estamos a pensar no circuito mais fácil e que o mais impacto em que misture tanto a parte dos estudantes, mas também a parte do turismo, para que este veículo também seja apetecível e seja também uma marca de marketing do nosso território. E é uma maneira também de nós continuarmos a alavancar o nosso Aveiro Tech City Living Lab, que é algo que nos orgulhamos muito de ter no nosso território, e é preciso que se impulsione ainda mais a sua utilização e que quando passarmos a ser uma ZLT, uma Zona Livre Tecnológica, que estamos a trabalhar forte para que Aveiro tenha uma ZLT, acreditamos que estes veículos venham a marcar ainda maior presença no nosso território. Portanto, a vocês, mais especialistas nesta área, quero só desejar-vos uma boa sessão. Eu não vou estar aqui, mas vou ouvir com toda a certeza, porque também tenho que tirar os meus apontamentos. Isto não é só vir aqui falar, porque também temos que estudar a nossa parte, porque quando tomamos decisões políticas temos que ter também a base de conhecimento. E, portanto, não pensem que esta sessão, apesar de eu não estar aqui, que é em vão, é bem pelo contrário. É para ouvir com calma e também fazer a nossa reflexão. Está bem? Obrigado e boa sessão a todos.
Thank you so much for your intervention. We will now start with the first presentation. We will have Eva Rodrigues, Project Manager at Ubiwhere, and Pedro Rito, Researcher at Telecomunicações Institute in Aveiro. They will present the Right to Autonomy project, which you might have seen through the shuttle.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Eva, and I'm here to present to you the Right to Autonomy project. We are a consortium where we have the Ubiwhere, Telecomunicações Institute, and Aveiro City Council. So, why this project? Aveiro is gradually moving towards an electric public transportation service and was the first city in the country to purchase 3 electric buses. Aveiro is also currently reinforcing its urban cycling network and implementing 20 bike sharing stations with 220 bicycles in the city. Mobility in Aveiro is not only in the streets and roads, it is also in the ria, the estuary, and the urban water canals. Aveiro is engaged in the full electrification of the tourist traditional boats operating in the canals, as well as of the ferry boat operating between Aveiro Marine area and São Jacinto beaches. So, our main objective is to provide a real experience of using safe self-driving public transportation. The autonomous shuttle that you saw outside was equipped with vehicular communication units that interact with the fixed communication units, roadside units, for the exchange of sensory, entertainment, and tourist-related information. Sensory information collected by the vehicle and complemented with radars, LIDARs, and other sensing and acquisition units installed in the infrastructure are being used to complement the safety systems provided by the shuttle operation system, targeting mainly other vehicles or passers-by. Additionally, all the collected information regarding the autonomous shuttle is available in a dashboard. You can see it if you enter our demo. What are we evaluating? Profiles of persons, user groups, and adoption feedback assessment based on normalized service, vehicle occupancy rates per day, time, etc., feedback on shuttle accessibility and completeness of information campaigns, safety assessment for standard procedures, and finally, quality of service and network metrics for 5G connectivity via automated monitoring tools. Here you can see the shuttle, but I invite you to ride with us as well. So I'm going to pass to my colleague, Pedro Rito.
Good afternoon, everyone. So my name is Pedro Rito. I'm a researcher in Instituto of Telecomunicações, and I'll present to you more about the technical side. We use this demonstration, part of the Right to Autonomy project, also to demonstrate what we are trying to do towards our research in the university. And this was a very good opportunity to show to the citizens and also for ourselves to have a feedback and a real environment what we could do with such a vehicle. So with the Aveiro Tech City Living Lab that we are deploying in Aveiro, we could, let me see if I can, okay. Yeah, just to have also a pointer. We could use the roadside units that are installed in the Aveiro, and here we could provide 5G and V2X access between the shuttle and the smart lampposts that we have in the city. Also, towards this type of communication between the roadside units and the onboard units, we can demonstrate the sending and receiving messages. For example, the collective perception messages that are sending information about the sensors, both from the shuttle and the smart lampposts. Also, we are transmitting messages regarding traffic lights, more specifically the SPATM messages, and the shuttle is reacting to those messages and the demonstration we are having now. And lastly, we can complement the shuttle awareness with information with the VRU awareness messages, the vulnerable road users that are these messages are the VAMs. And also we can send alerts to the shuttle through the DEMs. And in order for us to demonstrate this, we are including our onboard unit inside the shuttle. And this is what we can see here. So a part of all the technology that the shuttle has natively, we are including our onboard unit, also processing unit where we can run the machine learning algorithm that is processing images that the video camera is acquiring. Then when the shuttle is passing by a smart lamppost that we specifically, we could use one smart lamppost in the street that we are doing the demonstration. This smart lamppost has a video camera and can process the images as well from the infrastructure side and detect pedestrians. And together with a virtual traffic light that we try to demonstrate here, and you can see the diagram here, we have also virtual lines that we managed together with Navia, that is the manufacturer of the shuttle, to showcase the shuttle passing by this intersection. It will react and stop if we are sending the red or the green lights through the messages. But with the video camera, we go one step further, and this algorithm is not just periodically, but we can influence the red light with information from the occupation of the intersection. When we are sending the more information about this perception using the V2X, here you see a diagram of what are the services that we are including in our onboard unit inside the shuttle. And here we have several things like a broker to collect all the information that we have inside the unit. Also, we have the service that is aggregating all the information about the sensors and sending through the CPM. And from the roadside unit, we have equivalent services to receive the messages. And then we have cloud services to collect all the information, and also hosting the web app that we are presenting to the citizens during the demonstration. Here, just a quick overview of, because we are integrating with Aveiro Tech City Living Lab, we also, if we use the main web app of the infrastructure, it's one more example of the integration that we have with the shuttle, because also here we can see the real-time location of the shuttle communicating with a smart lampposts, but also with, you see here a very small antenna. That means that it's connecting through 5G as well. And here, some screenshots about of the web app. The first screen where we have the representation of the perception through the video camera that we have inside the shuttle. For example, here is detecting a group of pedestrians. Here, just only one. And also we have the information about the traffic light that the smart lamppost is sending through the shuttle. So then we can have the feedback when we are riding inside the shuttle, if the shuttle is reacting to this information or not. We also have the visualization of the real-time streaming of the video camera, and also the algorithm, what is the output of the algorithm with this perception. For example, here is detecting 5 pedestrians. Also the shuttle itself, you see here the small icon of the shuttle, and also a car that is parked there. We also then represent some statistics from the past 24 hours and the last hour, counting the amount of pedestrians in this intersection and also two-wheel vehicles. And then we have a last screen showing a little bit about the project, and we invite the people to answer inquiry, to give some answers, and the demonstration is not over yet, but we wanted to show already what is the positive feedback of the people. We have already, up to today, more than 100 answers, and you see largely the people is actually positively surprised, so it's better than expected, not even as expected, it's better than expected. And regarding safety, they also feel they are extreme safe inside the vehicle. So not just very safe or moderate safe. And thank you.
Thank you both. Thank you. So now we will have Professor Susana Sargento, who is a full professor at the University of Aveiro and also a researcher at the Telecomunicações Institute, and who will present to us the second project we're here to speak of, Route 25.
So this is mine. Okay. Hello, everyone. So I will finalize with Route 25, but here it is like this. Yeah, I will finalize with Route 25, but I'll give the floor to João to be able to present it better. So what I will do is to give you some information of some works that we have been doing here in Aveiro. So I'm concentrating here in Aveiro, and how we can improve and what we can do in the future using the autonomous mobility. Okay, so present and future of autonomous mobility, and again I will concentrate here in Aveiro, so to what we have been testing and what we plan to test. So this is the scenario that we are planning, right? So to have this wonderful mobility, people are in the cars just reading or working in computers, and we have different possibilities of mobility, and everything is very well controlled, wonderful, and people are very happy. So this is what you want to have in the end. Pedro already told about this, but we've made an effort during the last years to have an infrastructure that would enable us to be able to deploy this faster, okay? So we were talking yesterday with Arno, so communication is key for all this autonomous mobility, and this is very important for us. So one of the first parts was to have the city all integrated, all connected, to have vehicles also connecting the city, to have all these sensors, to be able to have all the data available. So these are some examples of the lampposts we have here with the same sensors, but we also have the buses, and beyond this autonomous shuttle that we have during these 2 weeks, we also have other shuttles that are not autonomous, at least yet, that are going around the city. So at this stage we have less than 20, but the purpose is to have 30 vehicles that are all connected to the infrastructure, and being able to send all the data and being able also to communicate with them. So this is a main part of it. And these are some information of the equipment, of the communication, of the sensors we have inside the vehicles. Okay, so this is a vision of the platform. So here you can see 3 buses that are connected to the lampposts. You also have this shuttle, so this was not the autonomous one, but another shuttle that also have a 5G communication there, actually powered by Altis Labs. So we are using and also cooperating with Altis Labs to integrate the 5G part. But you also can see the detections of the radars, the detections of the video cameras that we have around, and also so we have a LiDAR also in the Rua da Pega. So we can have information and also being able to connect all these elements around. So let me just give you some examples, the past and present. So I will start with some work we've done last year. And this work, the idea is to be able to use the different sensors we have around to protect vulnerable road users. So this is the scenario we have. So we consider that we have these video cameras, radars, and even the communication from the people, from their smartphones, and the communication from the vehicles, join all this data together to be able to improve the safety of vulnerable road users. So if I can I? It's there? No, it's not there. It's not working there? Yeah? Okay. But I think I can go here. Okay. So what do we have? So we have the vehicles. The vehicles are always sending their data, their information, their messages. So we have information every second where the vehicles are. We have radars. So radars are in some locations, and they are also sending the information of what they are detecting, being big vehicles, small vehicles, or others. Yes. It's just for me to video. And then we have the cameras. And the video cameras, they can give us, so they don't give us information about this precise location, the precise velocity of a vehicle or of a person, but they give us more information. So is it a bicycle, is it a person, or is it a motorcycle, so we can have more granularity on the information. And also the information from the mobile phones that we can get. So not only understand that there is a person there through a video camera, but understand that there is a person there through the messages that are being received by the mobile phones. So all of these very well connected, so performing a fusion of all this data and then trying to understand if an imminent collision is going to happen or not. So that is the main purpose. So here, for example, we were doing tests in this road. So with the video camera, we had to do some more works to understand and to be able to understand where the people are, because it's not so easy as if we had a radar or the messages from the users. So let me just give you, I think this video is very interesting, and for you to understand, let me see if this is working. So we have done this video last year. So what is the thing that, so when I see here, I smile, because we were not controlling a vehicle. So we are receiving all the information and all the messages in this web app. So that's why it's so important to have autonomous vehicles here. So Pedro is there. Pedro is a pedestrian, so he's going to cross the crosswalk, and then a car is coming, and since they are somehow in a collision area, both of them will receive information that they can collide. Okay, for the person it can be something visual, it can be a sound. But for the vehicle, we were using the app, but what we want to do is to go right the way to the vehicle and tell it to stop, or to slow down, or to do something that may be important for them to not collide. So this is why I say this is from past, and we want to go for present and for the future. So we also worked with emergency services, and in this case, what we've done was through information from the different vehicles and from an emergency vehicle to be able to understand and to predict the route of the emergency vehicle, to give information and to be able to give warnings to the other vehicles that the ambulance is coming. And actually we've done some refactoring and some, I wouldn't say refactoring, but we've changed this a lot. So we integrated this scenario with 5G overall core and edge network with Altis Labs. And we introduced virtual, so slicing, virtual slicing, so to be able to have different services and being able also to have resources that are completely assigned or that are very well assigned to the emergency services. So in this case that we have been showing the whole week here in the downside of this area. So what we have there is a car. So this car is an ambulance. The car is not stopped, so it's stopped, so nothing is happening. And we give several mobile phones to the people that are there. And these mobile phones, they can see some videos with very good quality, everything is wonderful. Of course, we know that with 5G, we will have very good quality in all the types of communications. But we needed some way to show people that we were really activating the ambulance. So when the ambulance starts, a video starts, we can see the video, and now consider that this is not only a video, but it's some virtual reality data and information that is going to the hospital. And while this starts, and while we need information from the video, because we predicted that the ambulance was coming, so we will reserve resources for this video and we'll be downgrading the other services there. Again, so this is not what will happen in 5G, but it was to show that we are really reserving virtual slices for the video in the ambulance for emergency part. We've been working also in two-wheeler safety. Okay, so other types of VRUs, not pedestrians, are two-wheelers, and with two-wheelers there are several changes here because they are not just crossing the walk, but they will be side by side, or they can be side by side with cars. They can be in intersections also with cars. So two-wheelers, they need to be treated as vulnerable users, but in a very, very similar way to vehicles too. So we've been deploying this, and this is one of the scenarios that we are also taking the use of the shuttle. We are also testing these kind of scenarios here in the ground part. Of course, our idea is to integrate it all. So we not having only sensors in the street, but also having sensors in the vehicles to be able to have the radars, the video cameras also in the different vehicles, and to be able to integrate vehicles that are autonomous with non-autonomous. So this is one of the parts that we've been working on. The autonomous shuttle was a very interesting start, and this virtual traffic light was very important. I thought it's something simple. It's not very difficult to implement it because we already have all the platform ready. But this gives us the first possibility to not requiring these applications that we have for the driver, but the sending of the messages directly for the car, and then the car will do whatever we want. So what we told the car to do was stop or go, but now we can tell the car to go at this velocity, because now is the best one, because you will have an intersection afterwards, or you are in a normal traffic light, so then all cars will start going and driving at the same time, so to not lose time in an intersection, so to be able to tell also in that intersection, so you start and you stop because this one is going, so all the bases for the autonomous mobility, they are here. So now we go for the future. So, and in the future, this is a picture that we've done. So actually it was Andrea, one of our students, that has done this picture. But this is exactly what we want to have, right? So to be able to have the integration of all types of vehicles, pedestrians, and so on, to be able to have sensors in all these vehicle, sensors on the edge, and all the computation on the edge, having the cloud helping because we need to process. Some of the things are on real time, so we have to do it in the edge, and some things are on the core because we need to use lots of information to be able to learn and to be able to predict what to do next. And I also borrowed this picture from Pedro before, because it's not just coming here and say, okay, so I'll send some messages to the vehicles and they will do whatever we want. But yeah, we can think about many different areas that go from the critical latency, and we are working on TSN, so very restricted latency services and networking, the data processing, the 5G and 5G also with Open RAN, the P4 programming for the software-defined radio, the orchestration of services because we need to have, so for example, the cars are going and we need specific service for different types of cars or for different applications in the cars, but they are moving, so we need to be able to dynamically orchestrate all the services we need through the edges around, all this sensing and fusion, edge computing, and even, and actually we have some cooperation also here with Capgemini. So there are some places where a car doesn't have connectivity, but we need to help him. So why not having some UAVs to be able to work as 5G base stations to help all of these to work? So the amount of work is not only on the cars themselves, but the backstage is very important for this. So to finalize and just starting some parts. So we have this PR agenda, Route 25. It's very interesting and important for us, and I'm just including here 3 examples, okay? So one of the examples of what we want to do is this cooperative maneuvers between autonomous and non-autonomous vehicles. And we know that this is very difficult. So Navia is already doing some work on this, and there's also cooperation between autonomous shuttles and non-autonomous ones, but we know that this is something that it's not easy because we cannot predict the humans behind. So we want to explore maneuvers in the road with other vehicles, so accelerating, braking, change direction, changing lane, overtaking vehicles. So try to understand everything we can do about it. Explore the maneuvers in roundabouts, intersections. Explore these also with the vulnerable road users. And in the highway. So in the highway, we'd have different types of maneuvers that we usually do, and the environment is completely different, but this is one of the things that, that we want to do. So we are planning this, and this needs to be, of course, redefined with the municipality, but the back area of the train station, and also in A25. So the other part is the autonomous maneuvers. So we have a vehicle, and actually we are in IT, we are acquiring an autonomous vehicle or a vehicle that has an onboard computer that we can override with our decisions for the autonomous maneuvers. So what we want to do is to define a trajectory and then test the several decisions. So what happens if I do this? So now there is a vulnerable road user, maybe not a person at the first stage, but understand if the vehicle really understands what's happening, if it will brake, if it will stop or not. So this is something that we are planning for the campus of the university and the Rua da Pega, the outside, and the autonomous parking. So this is also very interesting because, and actually this is also with Ubiwhere, that we have these sensors, the smart parking with different types of sensors, and we can get information before arriving. So where are the free parking places? And this information can just guide the vehicle. So the vehicle has a route, but then it will change the route because it will need to go to that parking place. So this is something that we want to test for here. And I'll stop here because I want my colleagues also to talk about all these challenges that we can have in this kind of areas. I think it's very, very challenging, and we have some very interesting years ahead of us. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Professor. So now we will have our first invited speaker, João Carvalho from Capgemini. He will firstly introduce some of the information regarding the project that Professor was just explaining, and then he will introduce Capgemini's role in mobility.
So, I will start my presentation by asking what is the main challenge for autonomous driving. What we have seen at Capgemini Engineering is that the perception of a single vehicle is limited to the surroundings, to a short distance around its vehicle. But when you join the perception of all the vehicles, there you can mimic reality. So, what is this concept of collective perception? Is when you join the information that you gather from a vehicle through its sensors, radars, LiDAR, cameras, etc., and you combine them with the information that you gather from the city. Smart traffic lights, traffic radars, vehicle counters, CCTV cameras, smartphones from people actually crossing the streets, and you put all this together to create a holistic view of what's happening in the city, in a motorway, in any given street. This kind of perception, the collective perception, really requires a connectivity layer that will need to have ultra-reliable and low-latency communications and high throughput. So just to give you an information, an autonomous vehicle is expected to generate more than 4 terabytes of information per day. I'm sure Navia knows quite well how much information they're generating. And so this layer of connectivity will be key to make sure that this collective perception can be a reality. And this is in fact what Route 25 is aiming to do, to create this reality, to create this sharing of information between vehicles and infrastructure, vehicles to really make autonomous driving more safe. And so Route 25 is a PRR agenda, Next Gen EU fund. It will start, it has started this month, in fact, and we have more than 30 partners working on technologies for the vehicles, so all the software that needs to be developed in the vehicles, the digital experience and this connectivity layer that I was just talking about, and of course the physical hardware that we need to put in the cities and in the motorways to make this happen, and of course culminate all of this work in the demonstrators that Professor Susanna was just talking about. And so in terms of numbers, we are talking about an investment roughly around 60 million euros. The consortium aims to put in the market by 2025 47 new products, processes, and services, create more than 1,000 jobs, and expect a turnover of over 80 million euros. So we have 30 partners, I was saying, from Instituto Telecomunicações, Câmara Municipal de Aveiro, Câmara Municipal de Ilhavo, we have Ubiwhere here, we have telecom operators. So we have a full ecosystem in this project, and we have 3 large technology demonstrators, which will be the city of Porto, city of Aveiro, and Ilhavo, and Fundão, and they all have different challenges that will make the project really try to get as much impact as possible. And talking about impact, what Route 25 really aims to do is to place the Portuguese industry and its academia, I may say, at the top of the mobility value chain, to contribute to a sustainable digital and resilient mobility, and to have that wow factor that many of us have already started seeing here with the autonomous shuttle, to really create that wow factor in Portugal and to make Portugal a hub and a star in terms of autonomous driving for the future. And so I will close my presentation by saying that we believe that vehicles alone will not succeed in making our mobility completely autonomous. We will need a full cooperation between infrastructure and vehicles to make this happen. And so, thank you.
Thank you, João. Please join me here at the panel table, please. And I would like to introduce our next speaker, Arnaud Roalt from Navia.
Hi, hello everyone. So I will continue in English. I'm sorry, I knew only a few words in Portuguese and after order Tosta Misha and Cerveza, but I see everybody is capable of speaking in English. So I'm very happy to be here today for the official launch of our first project in Portugal for Navia. So that's a first. I'm sure it won't be the last one. And also I would like to seize the opportunity to thank the city of Aveiro for launching this project and of course for choosing Navia. I must say I'm quite impressed also by the level of competencies of all the different partners of the consortium, because you know when you talk about launching an heavy project, it takes more than just putting a shuttle in the street, having some safeguard in front and behind the shuttle. You need also, like, as you have understood, like the last 30 minutes, a lot of competencies in the telco, in the operation, also in terms of research. So congrats, guys. It's been a very good job that you have done here. And yeah, I'm pretty happy to be part of this. So maybe I'll give you just a few words of who we are at Navia, and then I will play a video which shall give you a good overview of what we are doing rather than a long speech. So Navia has been created in France back in 2014. Today we are more than 300 employees in 3 different continents. We have locations in America, in France, but also in Singapore. And what we are doing, I heard Pedro, you say like Navia is the shuttle manufacturer. Actually, we do much more than just manufacturing the shuttle. We consider that we are providing autonomous mobility services. And indeed, the core value of Navia lies less in producing the shuttle, the hardware, rather than in enabling with the AD stack this autonomous mobility. So what is an AD stack? AD stack is basically a sensor architecture together with the software. And that's where actually most of the 180 engineers of Navia are focusing their whole day trying to perform and to improve this AD stack. So we provide autonomous mobility services for transporting passengers, but also for the goods. So we started our first operations back in 2015. So that's been quite a long ride now. And we have more than 210 shuttles in 26 countries. So I'm very happy again to see Portugal as this 27th. And there are many other countries to be launching such project. What else can I tell you? Many other things. The shuttle that you see in the streets, it's the first platform that we have developed. We have a newer platform that we are using since 1 or 2 years, but we are already working on the 3rd generation of platform. Because again, what we want to bring as services is to be able to have to partner with industrial manufacturers, okay, who will give us the robotized platform and concentrate on the software, autonomous mobility software. So that's what we are doing. And today we are at level 3, level 3.5 on the SAE level for the one who know these SAE levels. And we are targeting to reach this famous level 4, which is basically the moment when you can safely take out the operator, the safety operator. And we have good confidence that we can reach that level 4 in the coming 12 to 15 months. So we already started a few to drive with the newest platform. So I think next time when we come to Aveiro, it will be with a newer platform. Okay, so we have a workshop then. So maybe I can just give you play a small video. You will see a lot of different use cases that we answer. And that should be giving you a good overview of Navia. The people that you see here, they are based in Paris. We have all the R&D team in Paris. The HQ is in Lyon. And we have 2 subsidiaries, one in Michigan, North America, and one in Singapore. That's an old version. That's why it hasn't been updated. So you see, actually, most of our use cases are on public roads in mixed traffic conditions. It's quite rare to see to have use cases such as here in Aveiro. I mean, in a pedestrian private road, privatized. We don't drive on dunes. It's just it's very interesting. What you've seen here is in Middle East, in UAE, but also in KSA. They are building, they have giga project as they call. It's all about smart cities. They build everything from scratch, and it's pretty interesting because they can start by building the city of the future from the very beginning. And they always want to have the autonomous mobility from the very beginning. So it's very interesting because we have more and more projects with them. That is in Lyon, actually, where I'm staying. 2020 was a very interesting period for us because we tested successfully for the first time the level 4, but it was on a private site, okay? So we could control the environment. There were no pedestrian, nothing, so we could successfully drive without safety operator. And what we have demonstrated recently, early this year in March, is how to monitor remotely a fleet of vehicles. And we had five shuttles driving, 3 on one side, 2 on the second side, and the guys monitoring the system was in Paris, 50 kilometers away. And we demonstrate that during the month of March, and that's also a key brick. Maybe we'll come back to that a bit later, but a key brick on the road. Oops, I don't want to play that again. Up. Voilà. Thank you. We can start.
Thank you, Arno. If you can join us, please. Thank you. So we will now move to our third invited speaker, Teresa Santos from Este. Please welcome her.
Okay, let's move on. So thank you very much for the invitation. Este, as some of you may know, is part of the mobility ecosystem. We are a little away of all these city developments that have been happening here in Aveiro. Nevertheless, we are part of the infrastructure. So we are the second largest road concessionaire in Portugal. We do asset management, we do operation and maintenance, and toll collection services for more than 627 kilometers of network. In terms of toll collection, we are known by being the number 1 free-flow toll operator in Portugal. We've been doing this since 20 years ago, more or less. This is how our tolling points look like, but we have, of course, we have all the systems that come from the roadside equipment to the OBO, CBO, manual and automatic procession of transactions in the back office. So this is just an overview. For the road operation and maintenance services, it's a bit out of the autonomous vehicles that we are talking today, but this is the service that we perform on the road. And instead of bringing you the institutional video, you can find it on YouTube or in our website. And I didn't introduce myself. I am a manager for mobility and digital transformation in our business development department. So I decided to bring you and to share with you the vision that we have for the infrastructure of tomorrow. That's what most fits with the topics we are talking about today. So what is this of the augmented infrastructure? This is a vision that comes from Ardian, which is our how do I say it in English? Well, they are our big bosses that stay in France. So they shared with us this vision, and we just incorporated it in our plans for the future. So we want to fit in this ecosystem of social, environmental, and technological developments of the world. And the goal is to lead the path towards the reduction of carbon emissions in the infrastructure. It's not easy. We do not depend only on ourselves, we depend on the user of the road, so this is a challenge. And to reach this and to focus on our users, we see and we like to promote our infrastructure along these 5 characteristics: intelligence, openness, efficiency, resilience, and impact. I will show in a few slides what does this mean, but I invite you also to find the hashtag augmented infrastructure in the internet. You will find a big world of information. So the intelligence has to do with knowing our infrastructure in order to make it efficient in terms of operational activities. This has mainly to do with dealing with data, collecting, processing, monitoring, sharing data to be more intelligent. Then we have this concept of being open. This is where we stand more for autonomous mobility. It means that we want to have entry and exit points of information. We want to be an open system, but with controlled access, in order to share all that, that things that we collect in our infrastructure and can be linked with the ecosystem. This is not easy, but just a few words. Then this efficiency has to do with being able to generate new uses. It's about to transform us in a platform that can be used for more things than just simply be the way where people pass. Resilience, it has to do with being here for the future, being able to accommodate new types of mobility, new environmental changes. It has to do with being able to resist to the shocks. And finally, an impact for the infrastructure. This is very beautiful to say, but it's about minimizing our negative externalities, to have a broader mission in the world, reduce as much as possible and improve the environment as possible. So, in short, this is the way we see our infrastructure, the way we want to position ourselves in the future. We want to be part of the regional smart mobility. We are feeding and learning a lot with what is happening in the cities in order to bring it to the regional mobility level. And so our position is to serve as a platform for testing, for proof of concepts. We've been part of the national ecosystem working in this type of initiatives. Of course, that we are a regional infrastructure, so it will take some time to move towards a shuttle running in a highway, but we are here to start by testing connected mobility, and our role is to be part of the ecosystem and do whatever we can, as long as our grantor, the IMT that represents the government, allows us to do it. But Ascend is here. One of our motorways is A25 that Susana just mentioned, and it passes here very close to Aveiro. So that's it. This is a short presentation turned into augmented infrastructure. Please keep the concept and then follow us to have some more news. So that's it. Sorry.
Thank you, Teresa. So now I will introduce our last speaker, Pedro Mestre from SAIA. He will also introduce the company and then join us in the panel.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for the invitation, for being here. I try to be short in my presentation. The vision of SAIA about mobility, about autonomous mobility is a product of our evolution. It's a product how SEIA started and where it's heading now. Okay, we are an engineering center. We have been developing products that lead us to a more sustainable society. This is our goal. We've been operating together with, not alone, together with universities. I myself am also a university teacher and I work and I'm an engineer at SEIA. Working together with the cities. We want to return cities to the people. I think it's our objective. And we have been working together with cities, the industry, universities in automotive field, mobility, aeronautics, ocean, and space. We go from the deep of the ocean, land, and air. SEIA has been working in mobility and automotivity for the past 15 years. It came up with products that basically are services. We see all these technologies here, not by itself, but we see them as enables, as something that will enable services. We see the services, of course, that to be able to have the services, we need technology. That's why we are all here together. And we've been working in automotivity, in mobility, and we want to reach what is called carbon neutral cities. For this, we need to take out cars of the cities. We don't want to stop them in the cities. We want them always moving, so we have different concepts. We are working in concepts of sharing vehicles, but not only sharing the use, but sharing the ownership. If we have cars that never stop, they're always running, we don't have the problem of parking and the cities being full of cars. Okay, the shuttles do more or less the same thing in here, but in Portugal, we have sometimes problems is that reaching the cities is not easy. And we reach a point where we need a car. We have a project, I don't know if you heard about it, it's a project here, where we are using blockchain not to penalize the emission of carbon emissions, but we are using this project to reward users that have behaviors that save carbon. Users will have a credit, and that credit can be used to exchange in a market for products free of carbon, something like that. We've also been working in aeronautics. In the past few years, we started with Leonardo. From here, we went to the design, or not the complete design, but we are a key partner in development of Embraer KC390, which, if I'm not mistaken, next year will be on Portuguese Air Force from Embraer, this airplane. And from here, now we start the vision where autonomous driving might be needed, or will be needed for sure, which is where they go from the integration of having only horizontal mobility from horizontal to vertical. Okay, something like this is a concept where we enter not a vehicle, we enter a pod, and that pod can go on land or air. Oh, okay, it's a vision. Of course, it will be reached not next year, it will be reached by phases. It cannot start, even because regulations don't allow us. It will start by using to transport goods. SEI is now working on this to transport medications, urgent medications. We have to start somewhere. The regulations must change and the technology must evolve, of course. In here, even with the full technology, we will not have people flying the drones. We cannot. It's not safe. Humans are not predictable. So let's hope machines are a little bit more. Okay, probably explainable AI will allow us to reach this point. Okay, we don't have only land, the air, we have also in space and ocean. I'll try not to be to take too long. We have, for example, in ocean exploration, we have since vehicles that go underwater, mini subs. We have systems that go to the sea platform to collect information. We have sensors that we can use to track animals. We have, of course, over sea, over air with drones and space. All these things can collect telemetry that we can do those wonderful things with data and data processing and fusion, whatever, and we can provide this data as a service to whoever needs it, from industries, science, public authorities, or the public in general. SEIA, how did we evolve? We started as a small institute with 50 engineers. We started by providing engineering services. In here we play with, or we work together with key elements or key industries or key players on these industries, and we started to get our know-how. Later we went to development of also third-party projects, and now we are in the stage where we have more than 300 people working in SEIA, not only engineers. I'm one of the engineers there, but we have also what we call the philosophers. Those people that have the ideas. Don't forget one thing. We use technology. For us, technology, I'm a guy that develops a technology, okay, but we use technology to reach a product. We don't produce technology because we want to produce technology. We produce it because we have an idea. Now we have a concept car that is being developed, and is being thought for shared use and shared possession. That's the point. Shared use, shared possession. We are not building the car because we want to build that car. So we are now developing our own products, and when I say own, is not SEIA's products, Portuguese products based on Portuguese technology, technology developed in Portugal, and where we are near the supply chains. We are talking about what is the concept of our product. Is a cyber-physical system, a mobility system, like a car, for example, connected. Okay, data connection is, we've been seeing here all afternoon, is key for these kind of applications, and of course, data science. Without these three elements, we cannot have autonomous vehicles or all these things that we want to reach. Where can autonomous mobility improve the quality of life in cities? First, it's more efficient. As I said, we want to keep cars out of the city, we want cars to be moving. We want people to enter a car, leave the car, and the car is ready for the next person. We'll have more safety. We don't have people doing mistakes. I don't see a car have road rage, I guess. So, and the space of the city back to the people. So this is the roadmap as we plan, or as we see it, is not immediate. We don't go from walking to flying. That's impossible. What we see is, in SEIA, we see this step by step. Starting from the left, we see something that is not completely autonomous. So you see that vehicle in the front. Imagine there are cities like Aveiro where driving is more or less a good experience, is the idea I have. I don't know if you know Vila Real de Santo Antonio in south. It's very geometric. That must be the paradise for algorithms to drive there. Try to go to Vila Real, not the Santo Antonio, the other one is a nightmare. I know, I live there. Okay, it's like this, and roads very narrow. Imagine this is a nightmare for logistics. Now imagine that a logistics company can use something like that. Small cars, cars that follow the others, and the number of cars that follow. Imagine a train that goes in a city, electric vehicles, small vehicles that can go to narrow streets and follow a leader. That leader, for now, has a human driver. 2-3 years, maybe, we can reach this. After this, we'll have what we call X on wheels, anything on wheels. We go to more autonomous vehicles, let it be the shuttles, let it be the garbage collectors, whatever. Even small logistic platforms that can stop in a city and distribute from there. And from there we go to that one that I'll show you after, which is 3D. We go from horizontal to vertical. Of course, we will start to doing this for delivering goods, not for transporting people. Okay, I don't know when, but we want to reach it. I think we want to reach, more or less the same thing. Okay, I hope I was not too long. Thank you for your attention. This is Saya. This is what we think. This is it.
Thank you, Pedro. Please join us. So, once again, I'd like to thank our guests for being here. I'm just going to arrange the mic so we can have a prolific discussion. So thank you once again for joining us. As we have understood throughout your presentations, we are here today to discuss mobility as a hot topic, as a trending topic, and we've understood that autonomous mobility has been a high focus within the mobility area. So I'd like to start by asking Arnaud from Navia, what is the importance that Navia has given to autonomous mobility? Are you working on it? We understood that you are, obviously, but what is the importance for your company, obviously?
Yeah, thank you for the question, Anna. I'd like to come back to what Pedro just said about the mission, because we have been pretty much focusing on the technology, the data, the infrastructure, everything. All of that is absolutely needed to make that kind of project run smoothly. But the mission of all of this, why we are trying to push this autonomous mobility, is for a certain reason, and these reasons are to make the cities more livable, I would say. So to decongestion. Okay, to decarbonize the mobility, to make the mobility more inclusive, because if you look at the mobility now in the autonomous shuttle, you can see that the elderly or even the kids can take it. Okay, and they cannot drive, of course, they cannot take a bicycle or everything. So making the mobility more inclusive is definitely one of the key aspects also of this autonomous mobility. And the fourth aspect of the mission is to serve new areas. Okay, if you stay in Aveiro or in mid-size city, you don't specifically need these type of services because you already enjoy and benefit from bus or metro or tramway network, and that's more or less sufficient for your needs every day. What we see is to serve new areas where they don't have these capabilities and they are obliged to take their personal car, which is a nightmare for everyone. So autonomous mobility, as we see it at Navia, is of course electric. It's shared, because otherwise there is no point. If it's robotaxi for one people, simply no point. And it's connected, obviously, and it serves all these aspects of the mission that I just briefly described.
Thank you, Arnaud. I don't know if any of the other colleagues would like to add anything. Maybe João? Go ahead.
Yeah, absolutely. So for Capgemini Engineering, one of our main markets is, of course, automotive. And so what we're seeing from our customers is that this hype for the autonomous driving is really important, not just for their business, but for their long-term strategy, sustainability. We see that there is not yet a very clear path towards that vision, but we see them coming to us to understand what are the challenges, how can they develop their software, how can they adapt to this reality, because there's a lot of, the people are pushing the topic, you're seeing it more and more on TV, and that comes a desire, and the automakers, they see that push for the autonomous driving. There's a road to be done there, of course, but we're seeing the automakers wanting to be part of this journey as much as all of the developers.
So that goes to the second question I had for you today. So, as Arnaud just said, we have seen the evolution of several mobility terms, such as connected mobility, autonomous mobility, shared mobility, cooperative mobility, sustainable mobility even. So I'd like to know, at Capgemini, what does the evolution of these terms means to you at the company?
So of course, we're starting by the lower levels of the SAE, as Arnaud was saying. So levels 1, 2, 3, 3.5. We're seeing the automakers looking for those kind of features. So those that we already see on our vehicles, the lane control, the blind spot monitoring, etc. We're seeing that most cars are coming out with those features, and the newer versions are coming out with more features, more advanced. And so we'll be seeing in the future a transition from, let's say, normal mobility towards assisted, and then towards autonomous, partially autonomous, fully autonomous. And we'll be seeing in the next, I'd say 5-10 years for sure, a cohabitation of all of these vehicles. So those that are, let's say, normal for the day, those that are connected, that you can see them if you're autonomous, or if you can see them on a system. Those that are assisted, those that are autonomous, and you'll have to work out for all of these vehicles to be working in the same space and collaborating, and that's the challenge. I think, Arnaud, you agree that the mixed reality is something that's going to be here for the next few years. There won't be a shift, an immediate shift.
And that goes towards what you just presented, right? Or a little bit of it?
Yes, also because I'm not a civil engineer, and so I don't understand much of roads. But I know a little
We have Teresa for that here today.
Yes,
Yeah.
She understands of roads, she speaks of roads. But from the perspective of an electrical engineer that understands a little bit of algorithms, the infrastructures are one of the key elements now. The cities are not all the same. That's why I give these two examples, because are two completely opposite examples. What are our roads in Portugal? What are our system? The other day, one guy was trying to convince me that only in Portugal this happens. I said, no, this happens everywhere. But the guy was convinced that, no, only in Portugal. Okay, keep your mind, okay, keep your ideas. No, it happens everywhere. And there are cities, and because we are going to have this cohabitation of fully automated cars and non-automated cars, this will be a very huge challenge. Probably in highways, not so much. I don't know. I'm passing to her. You saw.
Yes, Teresa, go ahead.
But before going to the highways, because we are still well ahead of what is happening in the cities, I just wanted to bring to the table this perspective for the ones who are taking decisions, for the municipalities, for the authorities. Autonomous vehicles are a hot topic. Everyone wants to have it. But that's a challenge that we also have in the highways. We have to think about the final users. What do we want to achieve? How we will integrate this into our mobility ecosystem. It should have a purpose. So yes, we've seen that in pedestrian areas it seems to work. It's fancy, people use it. But at the end of the day, we want this to work. So this vision, the 360 degrees vision on the mobility system of the city has to take into account the other modes, the goals, the type of users. Maybe in some small villages in Portugal, people are getting older, and maybe we can just replace the full transport system, the public transport system, for something more easygoing as these shuttles from Navia or something like this. But in a huge city like Porto, okay, we can think about some channels, but this has to do with strategy and also with integrating all the modes. I just wanted to give this support to what we were discussing. And from the side of the motorways, of the highways, we are still, as I told you, ahead. We want to be a platform for testing. We are ready to take what our users will want in the future. So if there are going to be autonomous buses running in our area on a dedicated channel. We are ready to be there for them, but still we are testing. So for now, our position is more about giving you the platform for installing sensors to go to our roadside equipment and take information and integrate it into the vehicles, etc. So
and that goes towards my next question, which was focusing on infrastructure, since you are responsible for an infrastructuring company that is responsible for several of the infrastructures on the roads here in Portugal. So this is how your company sees autonomous mobility being integrated in the country. But I would like to go further and ask all of you, and Teresa in particular, do you think that despite all the difficulties that this will bring to the infrastructure side, there will be benefits for the cities and the citizens and the order within the mobility ecosystem?
Yes, indeed, I do think so. Of course, with the correct environment, we've seen there are proofs that we can get efficiency, we can give a smaller footprint in terms of carbon for the cities. So of course there are advantages as long as they are well thought. I'm always worried about planning and strategy before putting things in the field, but that's the point. We do have proofs that the autonomous vehicles, I've been in the ITS in Hamburg and also in Toulouse, and there were a lot of small vehicles that are already in cities doing last mile logistics. So this is a reality. Of course, it has advantages, but we have to take a look into the environment and in my opinion, and see how far can we go. But in terms of efficiency, in terms of carbon footprint, in terms of making it available for users that are not allowed to go to a car, or either to some electrics that we have in some cities that have difficulties in the accessibility. So there are a lot of advantages. I think we should all take them into account when planning the cities and the services. In the Arabian countries, it's a dream field because you can do everything, right? But here, in our reality, I think we have to take case by case. But yes, the answer for me is.
And would you say that here in Portugal, the infrastructures in the road are going on the right path towards accepting this type of technologies that we've heard here today, like the Navia shuttle that we've all rode before?
Okay, I cannot speak by the municipalities who own and manage the infrastructure in terms of local environment, neither by the IP that has national roads and regional roads. In what concerns motorways, we do know, and maybe you all know what IMT is. They are doing everything that they can. So we are ready to embrace this reality. But to be honest, we think about it as a mid-long-term view. So for our road engineers, they know what to do with the signage. It's easy. We know that we have to sensorize the infrastructure. We're ready to collect information, but we are part of an ecosystem. So alone, we can't do much more than what we are doing now in terms of motorways. In the cities, the scenario is different, but I cannot speak for the municipalities.
Yes, of course. I'd like to ask the other speakers if you have any experience. I know that, Arnaud, you've had some experience with the integration in other places. So do you want to share how that was, if that was difficult or easy regarding the infrastructures necessary for that implementation?
From what I've seen here in Aveiro, it was quite easy to commission and to deploy the shuttle. Again, the use case, I mean, the track is only 250 meters. It's very simple. We have a good GNSS network reception. We have plenty, of course, on the street. We have plenty of buildings for the LiDAR to get landmarks and to know, to make know to the shuttle where it stands on real time. So in terms of infrastructure, very easy, and so it has been deployed within a week. The longest track that we have currently is in Japan. I was saying that to Susanna yesterday. It's 40 kilometers. So it's 40 kilometers on 3 to 4 tracks. So and there are a fleet of vehicles, and each vehicle makes this cycle of almost 10 kilometers. It's a small town called Sakaimachi, and yeah. So I have no doubt that the key challenges of homologation through a constant discussion with the authorities, and the technology will gain the maturity that is expected. The most important for me is really the purpose and finding the correct use case. It's really what is the most important for me, I believe, for the benefits of the citizen, as you said. Just like, again, enabling people who cannot move by themselves to enjoy and to benefit from this autonomous mobility.
Thank you. I don't know if any of the other colleagues would like to discuss regarding this topic. Go ahead.
So, so Capgemini Engineering, so our customers are automakers. So I don't have a particular position, but what we've seen from Route 25 is that there is a very different reality from large cities to rural countryside. And for example, I think it's 90-something% of Portugal is rural, and that makes having, let's say, a European or even a national politic or implementation harder, because you have different speeds on that implementation. And we've seen that on Route 25. Because we have the three kind of environments, we also have motorways, and so there's several speeds, and to make sure they are all on the same track towards that implementation is not easy.
Okay, thank you. That brings me to my next question. So, Pedro, I'd like to ask you, we've seen some ideas with your presentation of what you expect to be the future of mobility and what SEIA is working on to have as the future of mobility. And I'd like to ask you regarding that, the fact that you mentioned that those ideas and plans that you showed are not for tomorrow. So what is your prediction at SEIA for the findings of these technologies and the implementing of these technologies in a city, be it connected mobility, autonomous mobility, partial autonomous mobility? So what is it? Is it short-term, long-term? And what role can we expect these types of mobility implemented in a city to have on sustainable mobility? Do you think the fact that this being implemented will help us achieve sustainable mobility? So kind of a hard question.
The easy answer is we believe so. Okay. As I said, SEIA, the vision of SEIA is services. SEIA, the vision of SEIA is mobility as a service. We are not alone, as you said. This is a big ecosystem, and our vision is not a single player. Is, for example, give a use case. I wanted to come here today to Aveiro, and I want to be sustainable. And I want to know what are my best options to get here with the lower carbon footprint. So I get out of my house, I take a car that belongs to my building. Okay, this is a concept we are working on, which is shared ownership. Usually we have the concept of sharing. We go outside, there are some scooters, some bicycles that we share. A company owns it. Problem, there are places where we don't have those because it's not interesting from the economic point of view, for example. There are some places that we don't have those more famous car sharing apps working. So why not a group of people owning a mobility device? For example, my building. I have to pay the expenses of my building, while in that expenses are not expenses of that car that is shared. If it's shared, everyone will take good care of it. And I take that car and take a bus, go to the bus station. That is last mile solution. And the car now goes back to my building because the next neighbor needs to use it. So I take the bus and I arrive here, I arrive to Porto. In Porto, it says, you catch this train. I get here, I go to the train station and say, oh, there's a shuttle there. I enter the shuttle and it stops here. So this is kind of an X-ray of our vision. It's not only my car, it's several means of transportation. Of course, this is a very complex platform to be able to get. For this, we need the technology. Of course, I said the technology for us is not our focus. We use technology as a tool. like AI is a tool, the wheels of the car are a tool, everything is a tool for us. Some of them we develop, some of them we use what already exists. Okay, so we have more or less one of this integrated vision that will go, okay, when can we reach this? I'm escaping that question, as you see. Okay, shuttles, we already have it. So this reality is something that we can have immediately. In the next 2-3 years, that reality I show you of small vehicles that follow the others, okay, something that is achievable in what, 2-3 years. Have something in the air to transport logistics. Okay, we've seen that in the UK for many years. There's a famous company that does that, puts in your backyard what you ordered. In Portugal, you don't have that. And we are trying to use that concept for medications and medical emergencies, not to transport people, to transport the logistics. That, okay, more 2-3 years.
So you're introducing the concept of shared mobility through autonomous mobility and connected mobility as well.
We can do shared mobility without autonomous
Mobility?
But for sure, it will enable us to do that dream of, it's a dream of less cars in cities. See, as I told, our problem is not where, or what we're looking is not where I'm going to park my car. No, I want those cars to be moving. We want to enable people to share the car, share that vehicle, the car, the bicycle, whatever. So it's never stopped. I arrive to my work, I put the car there, the next one gets it and goes to their place. With autonomous driving, I can have the car go next to the next person that wants to use. It's an enabler.
No, it's funny because it reminds me a German company, a startup, which is called Voi, and which some way answer these needs. Actually, this is remote teleoperation, so it's a different approach to autonomous mobility. But basically, what they offer it's an app like the Uber app, and so you order your car, but your car comes without a driver. So it's tele-driven remotely by some guys from this company and bring the car to the place that you order, so at your house, for instance. And then you drive the car. And you drive the car until the city center to the next meeting, okay? But you don't need to park the car, because when you get out of the car, then again, the company takes over the control of the car and will drive it remotely, tele-drive it to the next person. So I found this concept very interesting, because indeed it's a different approach, but it answers these needs of shared semi-autonomous mobility with always the same purpose, which is like, having shared mobility, one car answering all the needs.
Just to enforce what you just said, I don't know if the company was the same one, but I've seen a demonstration of a service like that, and I believe that they have already deployed the service in Slovakia, something like that.
Where?
Slovakia?
Slovakia.
No, I'm not sure.
It's
but
in Hamburg.
Well, maybe it's a different company or the same company. Maybe it's the same one. But it's very, very curious, because we've seen that. I've seen the demonstration. So the guys were, and we just tested it, and the car was outside doing and the concept was this one, and they were already applying this to a rental car company. Yeah. So I don't know if it's the same company, but the truth is, these things are happening. This is not real virtual reality. This is happening, and sooner or later it will come to Portugal.
So just to close before we open to the audience questions, if there are any, so if you want to, please prepare your questions. We will open them shortly. Just my last question. So just to finish this discussion before we open, as I was saying, I'd like to understand how your companies are working towards sustainable mobility as well. So do you think that these type of technologies will help improve the chances of finding a more sustainable mobility? Just to let it simmer, whoever wants to answer. Maybe João or Arnaud? Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, I think we have all answered like pretty deeply this question of sustainable mobility. There are big promise behind the word of autonomous mobility. As you said, it was an hype 5 years back in the CES in Las Vegas. All the car manufacturers were saying like, oh, autonomous mobility level 4 or 5, it will come in 5 years. And then it has been slightly down, and reality comes in, and then the car makers realized how what it takes to have level 4 or 5 autonomous mobility in the streets, and the level of investment and all, I mean, the challenges to tackle. So then they say like, oh, this will come by the end of the decade. So it has. Therefore, I'm avoiding to make any predictions now. But yeah, it is reality in some areas, like the shuttle on first last mile, predefined routes, limited speed, shared. This is what we are doing at Navia, and honestly, I hope that what we are doing is for the benefits of the citizen, because otherwise there is no real point.
Thank you. Teresa, go ahead.
Well, I can answer directly to your question, and maybe running a little bit away of this autonomous vehicles theme. Well, we at Ascendi, we care much about the regional mobility. So for the regional movements, people will still need a car, even if we change to more sustainable modes like to the trains or etc. So and we have at the same time we have the opportunity of introducing of helping the users to be more eco-friendly, because we do not need, in our business model, we do not need the traffic to go on street. So what we are starting to study, especially abroad, because we are also expanding our business to France and other countries, what we are trying to explore is how can we, for instance, integrate a discount on the tariffs for those who share their cars. In France, for instance, new concessions are obliged to have some parks for shared mobility. And this is a hot topic. How will we deal with this? And for us, it will be important to integrate these new types of shared mobility, either if they are electric, moved through hydrogen, or autonomous in part of the path. For us, it's more or less the same, but we want to reduce our carbon footprint. And from our perspective, in highways, that will come with shared mobility, with carpooling or car sharing, solutions that put more people into the same vehicle.
Thank you.
Okay, a short answer is, as you have seen from representations, our services, our target is something that is in our DNA as SEIA, which is sustainability. Since I've been in SEIA, I've never been any project there that doesn't target that. First, sustainability and products for that. So as I say, we have that in our DNA, something that we call sustainability as a service.
Perfect. That sounds very interesting. Yeah. João, I don't know if you want to add anything else?
Yeah, just to say that, of course, Capgemini is quite focused on sustainability, and we have our own goals for 2030. Of course, we have more orders for autonomous mobility than sustainable mobility. I don't think so. I think they're parallel tracks, so they're not. There isn't quite, let's say, a very mathematically proven cause and effect, but we do believe that this shared mobility, as you move towards autonomous and shared, there will be opportunities there to cut some of the carbon footprint and make sure that in the long run, while boosting one part, you're also boosting the other.
Thank you. So I will now open the questions to the audience. We have time for maybe 1-2 questions, depending on the complexity. So yes, of course, just go ahead. If you all heard the question. I think that, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think that the idea is to ask, we all mentioned sustainability, how do we plan to answer to the question of electrification as a solution instead of the current means to have the cars transport, and how do we want to solve or be sustainable using electricity? I think something like that. Yeah, just I don't know. Okay.
Go ahead.
No, I will defend what I've just said. For us, we are more into the shared mobility than to moving towards just electric solutions. Of course, if we can have buses moved by hydrogen or electricity, they will have a lower carbon footprint. But the question is how to move people to public transport, to shared mobility services, to trains, whatever. We know that for regional mobility, we have to induce behavior. Otherwise, people will change from a fuel car to an electric car, and the behavior will be just the same. And if we do not take care of that, if we, well, with the politics, with the incentives that we are aiming to give to the users by having electric cars, at a certain point, we'll have to think about that equilibrium, especially on highways, because maybe they will pay less because they have an electric vehicle. Okay, now everyone moved to electric vehicles, and then we'll have congestion and other problems. So I would go for shared mobility, for enhancing and inducing behavior on shared vehicles, whatever it's the technology that moves them.
I would like to reinforce what Teresa just said, because the electrification is a tricky point, because you can't just look at the emissions on your useful life. You need to look at the emissions for the full life of the product. And when you compare the electric cars from the materials the raw materials that make them all the way to the disposal, and you compare them with petrol cars, there is a gain, but it's not that extensive as it is advertised. So I do think that what will really contribute or has the impact to contribute more for the sustainability issue is what Teresa was just saying about sharing cars and making, let's say, personal mobility more public, more or less. So the idea to really reduce vehicles, optimize the paths and optimize trajectories, and trying to make sure that the cities and not just cities, other infrastructure really work as a network of vehicles to reduce my own personal delocations, just going from one place to the other, alone when someone could be wanting the same trip. And that kind of concepts will be those that make the most impact.
Thank you. I don't know if there is any other question from the audience. Yes.
I have one.
Yes, maybe I know you.
Yeah,
you can
I will
start.
Okay, but we were starting to discuss that yesterday evening with a glass of wine, so I think I need more ideas. No, I'm pretty sure that in the coming decades, probably 2 decades, there will be like mixed solutions of autonomous cars with traditional cars, and they need to co-share the roads. And I don't see of course, like an industrial site. We have a few use cases like SEM parks, everything, like all private sites where basically the employees, the visitors, they come and they stop at the doors and they interrogate and they leave their cars. And inside, you can imagine that there are only autonomous vehicles, shuttles, cars, robots for delivery goods. It's happening. It's already existing, and I think it's quite okay. But I see in mixed traffic conditions that the autonomous shuttles or autonomous mobility is performing quite well, and we cannot prevent. I think we don't need a segregated lane, dedicated lane for autonomous buses, cars, or whatsoever. I think it can perfectly work with the traditional cars.
I have a slightly different
Just move.
view. Well, that might be reality, I don't know, for maybe the US, which is more experimentalist, or even the Arabians, where they have this full concept. I think in Europe, you will see, because automakers are very traditional, the policymakers are very conservative when you talk about change, and you're talking about a completely new technology, and I think you will go through a phase where you have segregation. It doesn't need to be physically implemented, but there will be lanes. But I think time will tell. I think you will still go through that phase first, at least until there is public confidence, there is public acceptance, and also the policymakers see that, okay, this is not causing any problems, and then as you go along, they will open up the roads.
Thank you both. Thank you both for your contribution, and thank you all, the four of you, and also our first speakers for your help in introducing the topic of mobility and autonomous connected mobility here. Thank you to everyone in the audience that was here with us today, be it physically or virtually through the YouTube video. And I'd like to close the session and to once again thank you for helping us discuss this, and to invite you all to continue to participate and to see the rest of Tech Week, the rest of the events. And that's it for us. Thank you very much on the name of Ubiwhere, the Telecomunicações Institute, and the Municipality of Aveiro for being here and for helping us introduce and evolve technology. Thank you.